What's going on? Back again, Road to 180, episode 4. Hope everybody's having a good weekend. I'm personally up north right now, just catching a bit of sun. And I wanted to discuss the topic of fat loss for beginners. I've been talking a lot about myself in the last couple episodes with my lifestyle, training, nutrition, along with on Instagram, people joining me along in the cut. But this section is more geared towards people who haven't even gotten their feet wet. They want to build some momentum and they haven't gone around to it yet. So the first thing I would personally start with is the why. So a lot of people, they don't even know why they want certain goals. And quite frankly, they're actually following other people's agendas. Other people are projecting their own insecurities onto those people. And you have people at 14% body fat, perfectly healthy, who want to get on a cut just because someone else is telling them to do so. So it's like, they don't even want it themselves. It's not a true, genuine goal coming from them. And I could tell you guys from firsthand experience, a lot of people in my old videos in 2017 were telling me to cut, and I wouldn't want to hear any of it because that was not personally on my agenda. It was only in 2021, roughly, maybe even 2020 to a certain extent, that I started gradually getting to the idea of cutting. And it was really just in August 2021 that I cut 28 pounds in 28 weeks, so far and so forth. So once you establish if you want to cut or not, and it's actually coming from you, and that's great. Maybe you want to get leaner, maybe you want less weight on your body, whatever. It could be all types of reasons. But that brings it on to the next point, which is getting some momentum and not trying to bite more than you could chew, because oftentimes people have procrastination strategies where they say, hey, January 1st, it's a wrap. I'm going to get in the best shape of my life. You see them 1 or 2 years later, they look exactly the same. Or they use it on a more casual basis where they'll say, on Monday, I'm going to start my nutrition plan. And then it never ends up happening. It's the same concept. It's just a strategy people use to postpone and just to buy a bit more time. And they'll use certain excuses, which isn't necessarily the end of the world, because eventually some of these people catch on. They're like, look, nothing's going to change unless I change right now. And oftentimes people try to bite more than they could chew. They go from being completely sedentary, working a regular 9 to 5, to eventually telling themselves, or at least trying to brainwash themselves into thinking they could train 6 times a week in the gym, have 2 meal preps a week, start sleeping 8-9 hours. It doesn't work that way. A lot of people have to take more baby steps, and that's personally what I recommend on this channel. I'm not selling people any dreams that, in a week, your whole life is going to change. I think it's gradual improvements over time. They're going to build your confidence and make you feel better. So these are the types of people who need to accumulate some wins under their belt. So basically, if you have a scale, this is how I like to think of it, of 0 to 100, and 0 means you're sedentary, high stress levels, you don't train, you don't eat well, you're basically breaking all the rules to get the body you want. And then 100 is everything's dialed in from the training, nutrition, everything's scaled, whatever the case is, everything is to the T. Some people are all the way on this side of the spectrum where there may be only a 5 out of 100. So these people who eat maybe fast food 5 times a week, just them going to a fast food restaurant maybe twice a week is already a massive win under their belt. And they have to start being more realistic with that, because that is a win. If you're used to eating fast food that often, going to twice a week is a huge win. And that's going to give you some confidence and momentum to build up to eventually take on some larger tasks. Okay, I'm not going to eat fast food each week. Maybe I'll have fast food once a month. And then from there, you start adding in more variables. So you start taking away certain things. That's one approach. Or there's other approaches you could take too. One approach I've been playing around with as well has been, we don't need to take away certain things. Let's just start adding in certain things. So for example, you could start adding in a handful, so a fist size of vegetables and a fist size of fruits every single day. It's not super large. It's going to fill you up more, and you're going to feel a lot better. You're going to have more energy. And now with that increased energy, you're going to think to yourself, maybe I could use energy to train. So if you've never trained a day in your life before, obviously having a coach is going to help you get there faster, but you can still go to the gym, go to your bodyweight playgrounds, whatever the case is, and start experimenting. Start seeing what could you do movement-wise, pain-free at these parks. If you're in the gym, what could you do pain-free with a good range of motion? So start building your confidence up. It's a separate video I'm going to make, but basically talking about machines. Machines have a very bad reputation, which they shouldn't have, and I'm going to debunk it in the next couple of videos. But just for the sake of right now, machines are basically going to give you some more confidence because they provide what's called references and restrictions. So if you get on a hack squat machine, you can get a good range of motion. Now you have head support, you have back support, your hands have something to hold on to. You get on certain pressing machines, and it's all good. This is gonna make you feel like you're doing something, which you actually are. You're working the muscle in a great range of motion. You don't have to worry about as many of the stabilizers. So this is gonna make you feel good. I'm not saying you only have to use machines, but for a lot of beginners, machines are a great place to start. And that's pretty much it for the training. That's it for the nutrition. For lifestyle, you can make certain modifications as well. And that's pretty much it. Just start getting your feet wet, and eventually you're gonna have some more wins under your belt. You're gonna feel a lot better, and it's only gonna go uphill from there. So I hope that helps. All right, guys, what's going on? Today's a Thursday, it's July 7th. Everything's going well according to plan. Yesterday, I hit upper back and hamstrings. I'll be posting the session later on today's episode. As far as nutrition is concerned, things are very similar to last episode, except I've increased my protein noticeably, and I've also increased my vegetable intake as well. So I'm getting more nutrients, feeling more satiated, just more full overall, and it's giving me some energy throughout the whole day. So I'm really happy about that. Sometimes you have to make certain tweaks, and that's personally what I've been doing. So the road to 180 is a lot closer than we think. I'm still 183 today. So, it didn't really budge much from last episode, but it should budge in the next day or two. So I'm not really stressing about it. I know I'm still gonna get to the desired goal. Some weeks I might only budge, half a pound or 0.75, but it's okay because I'm trying to retain as much muscle as possible. And I mentioned already that after 190, I'm taking it a lot slower, and I'm still maintaining a lot of energy and all that type of stuff. So can't complain. And another thing I want to mention is that I want to have more of a built-in Q&A on this series. So basically where you guys could be asking certain questions, as opposed to making separate Q&A videos, I could just answer some of these questions as I go along about my day in these episodes. I could tag you guys in the video, and it could, bring us closer together and get you guys more involved, help build the community up even more. Because I understand there's a lot of people, for example, who are wanting to get on a cut, and they're surrounded by certain people who are not on the same mission as them. Whereas you watch my videos and you guys already know what I'm about. You already know what I'm chasing. You want to know my destination, and I already have my eyes on certain numbers. So if you guys don't have anybody around you who's cutting, it's perfectly fine, because I'm cutting. And if you're watching this video, chances are a lot of people in the comment section are cutting too. So it can get you involved in some type of community and help you propel to get to that goal faster. So speaking on that, I hope your cut's going well. Hope you guys are keeping up the momentum. Hope you guys are staying dialed in. And with that being said, see you guys later. This is the snack right here. It's a rice cake with some deli meats in it. And it basically has a bit of Dijon along with a sliced tomato. So if you really break it down, one rice cake is 35 calories. So times 2, we're at 70. And then for the Dijon, each teaspoon has 5 calories, which I put 5 of them inside, so we're at 25. So we're at 95 calories. And now we have the deli meat, which 2 slices, which I put, have 45 calories. So we're basically just a little bit over 100 calories. And then I put a little bit of sliced tomato inside. One tomato, an average size, has like 22 calories. So this is like 10 calories roughly. So we're looking at roughly 150 calories for this right here. Very satiating. And if this is not filling enough, you can even have a second one. Or you could have this as a snack with like some applesauce, to have a regular apple. And it's a great snack overall. It's gonna keep you going for a couple more hours before your next meal. All right, so quick tip: when some people go away for a vacation or just going away for a couple days, they turn it to a whole cheat weekend or like a cheat week. You don't want to do that if you're on a fat loss phase. You still want to stay dialed in, still want to go to the grocery store, cook your own food, at least for the most part, and you're gonna be all right. As far as the session is concerned, this one I did midweek last week. It's upper back and hamstring biased. So I basically have, if you guys saw my last episode, chest and lats, where there's a lot of different kind of pulls where I'm keeping the arm really close to the body. This is the opposite. So I basically have some chest supported rows that I set it off with, wide grip, T-bar. I've been talking about this lift for as long as I've been on YouTube, but now I'm doing it the strict fashion, chest on the pad, pause reps. And I actually didn't film. I did 2 sets of these, but the ones that weren't filmed were basically the 45-degree grip, which biases a little bit more rear delts, but still upper back. So I did 2 sets there, 2 sets 45, so that's 4 sets total. And then I jumped off into the chest supported rowing machine with the upper back bias once again. So if you guys have access to this machine at your gym, don't sleep on it. It's highly effective. I like to tuck my pelvis at the bottom, so I'm minimizing the erectors once again, getting a nice reach, pausing at the top, pausing at the bottom, trying to really limit the momentum. Almost got the stack going. I'm doing sets of 10 to 12. So I really like this lift for upper back. And then from here, I jumped into the weighted pull-up. So you're gonna see that in a moment. Some people, they like to do retractions as a mechanical drop set to keep the set going, but me, I'm not using any intensity techniques, so I just go to failure and I move on. So the wide grip pull-up, pause the top, pause the bottom, getting some decent reps in too. And my upper back was fried by here, but just finished off with these, and still gotta have some body weight movements in there, especially since I'm lighter. Feels pretty good, it's moving pretty fast. Have my buddy Youssef here, basically a guy that I knew from college and haven't spoken to him in like years, man, at least like 6-7 years. So we just caught up, got a little session in. So then that's basically the end of upper back for the most part. And then I went into some single leg hamstrings, put it at 2x speed. And I like to start off with a seated leg curl. Generally speaking, I like to seat it over the line. I have a lot of reasons for that, but it basically disengages the erector, so it's harder to cheat on these. And I like to start off with the single leg variation first. Once I'm done 2 sets single leg, I go to 2 sets double leg, so bilateral. You guys probably wondering why I have a yoga block between my stomach and the machine. I personally just came up with this like last session, and I feel like it keeps me more stable. It just improves the overall stability profile of the lift. I'm doing tempos on these, I'm doing pauses. I'm not resting too much at the top. Really feels good. So my hamstrings are really pumped by here. And then I get into some RDLs. So I actually got this variation from Paul Carter. He gave me the idea like when I was watching one of his stories on Instagram. So basically what I like about this exercise, that has a really good resistance profile. You could lean into it, which you can't do on a barbell variation or a trap bar. Even with dumbbells, you're gonna fall over. Here you can actually lean into it. And usually when I do an RDL, I limit the knee flexion. So I try to keep it like, it's kind of like a stiff leg deadlift for the most part. So very, very soft knees. And I would have to say out of every RDL variation I've ever done, this is the one where I feel the hamstrings the most. So this is what I'm basically rolling with for this cycle. So I do 2 sets, 1 set of 4 to 6, which was last set with the 4 plates. Then I dropped down to 3 plates, pause reps, and I basically did 10 to 12. And what's really cool about these is that they're like dumbbells, but they're still stable. So your hands could still have a bit of freedom and a bit of leeway. You could really lean into these. Nice stretch, nice pause. Very little setup. Like there's not really much to hate on when it comes to the hammer strength RDL. If you guys have this, if you have access to this at your gym, give it a try. I don't even think this was actually made for the RDL, so that's why I put a box on it. I think it's actually made more for shrugs. If you put a box right there and just stand on it, you can still mimic the hammer strength RDL. So basically did 2 sets of that, then I jumped into bicep curls. Once again, I like lifts that have a good stability profile, so a preacher. So I like to have a lot of references in my training, so tricep support. And if you guys notice my hands, I don't have true access to supination. So I'm basically trying to bypass it by just wrapping my fingers around. And it's working decently well. I actually got a pretty decent bicep pump on this. So I'm actively working on trying to improve my supination. It could be a distal issue where it's coming from the wrist, or it could be a proximal issue where it's coming from the rib cage and the scapula. So I'm addressing both ends individually. And on the other hand, I actually have access to a lot of pronation. So this meets me exactly where I'm at. It's a flat preacher. This is great for forearms, and I basically wrapped it up with that. We did a little bit of abs after, and we're good to go. To give you guys a quick recap, if you guys are struggling with your personal fat loss, try to regress your approach, accumulate some wins under your belt. You're gonna feel a lot better. It's gonna give you a lot more confidence, so on and so forth. Or you could just work with a coach. Secondly, I've upped my vegetables, I've upped my protein, especially for fish, and it's really gonna help me with my body composition. This is the next step I have to take. So I thought I was eating more vegetables before. Now I have to take it to the next level to really get more energy, get more of that satiation in. And as far as the next thing, it's sleep. So as far as my sleep is concerned, the reason why the scale didn't budge that much in today's episode, I was like 183. I was like 0.2 pounds down from last episode, which is not that good, but at the same time, it really makes sense when I look at the last 2 weeks, because I've been getting new clients in person, been writing more programs, I've been working on other stuff on the side projects I'll be announcing very soon. Been going to bed a little bit later, waking up a little bit earlier. So these types of things are gonna have an impact on my body composition. But my sleep has been getting better. In the last like 2 days at least, I've been using F-Lux. I think that's what it's called. So my screens are basically dimming. So I'm basically just applying that for my phone and for my computer before bed. I'm also using my earbuds, the new ones I started training with, and I'm using them for my sleep as well. So they dim the sound just enough where I could hear less, because I still live in the city, so there's a lot of cars and like noise passing by. So it cuts that out, but it's loud enough so I could still hear my alarm in the morning. So that definitely helps as well. It helps increase the quality of my sleep. And the next point was the questions. So if you guys want to mention your questions in the comment section below, feel free to do so. Give you a shout out in the next episode for a select few, and I'll address it in the next episode. So besides that, I hope you guys are keeping up with your own momentum. Hope your fat loss is going well. And with that being said, I'll see you guys in the next episode.